So Celeb Secrets is hanging out with Jack and Alex from All Time Low. So excited to be chatting with you guys. What's going on?
Thanks for having us. Stoked to
So,
be here.
of course, of course. Well, congratulations to you guys because Friday was a big day for you. The album dropped, and I know you had the album release show. So you need to tell me all these emotions that's been going on with you guys these past couple days.
Ooh, absolute whirlwind of emotions. It almost feels like it hasn't fully sunk in yet because we literally went from a tour across Europe. We got to the UK. We had this massive show at Wembley that was so daunting, but also so exciting. And we live streamed that for the world. So playing it was terrifying and amazing. And then, like, while all of that was going on, the record was coming out. And so it was almost like we didn't have time to stop and think about the fact that these songs were finally out there in the wild and people were listening to them for the first time. It's been amazing.
And I know this is the first full-length project that you guys put out in 3 years. And I feel like over the course of 3 years, so much has changed. I know for me, I'm not the same person that I was, pre-pandemic back in 2020. So you need to maybe dive in a little bit about their creative process and what that was like for you guys.
Yeah. So when Wake Up Sunshine came out, a month after the pandemic started, so we didn't get to actually tour on it or play any of those songs live till about a year and a half after the record came out, which was insane and very bizarre to us. So we literally just kind of went back into the studio. And, 2 or 3 months after Wake Up came out, we wrote PMA, Once in a Lifetime, released those. And then maybe 2 or 3 months after that, we'd written like Sound of Letting Go and Are You There and some of the songs that are on the new record. So a lot of the songs, half the record you're hearing was written kind of in the same era of Wake Up Sunshine and off the heels of that.
Yeah, it came kind of shortly after, and I think what was nice about that in a lot of ways was that we never really lost the creative flow. I think a lot of the time we put an album out and then we go tour it for like 2 years and have to completely switch gears back into album mode when we get there. But this time around, it was sort of like, this is what we have available to us, so let's keep it going. And yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it was really informed by what we were all living through as a society, like PMA. Not that that song's on the record, but PMA was one of the first songs that was really dealing with the kind of trials and tribulations of being in lockdown and sitting around and sort of wondering what was going on in the world. And from there, we sort of dove into these themes of like isolation and wanting for connection and, all of these themes that made it onto the record and informed the songwriting for Tell Me I'm Alive. So it sort of ended up being a great inspiration for a lot of the music.
Basically all the stuff we were talking to our therapist about.
Yeah, more or less.
But is that kind of like nerve-wracking though? Because I did get to listen to the album, start to finish. And you listen to the lyrics, they are personal. They really are. And if I've been following your career for a while now and I see it, I'm like, okay, well, I know this isn't just a story that they're trying to make up. Like these are personal stories that you guys are going through.
Sure. I think a lot of it does come from, personal experience or the experience of those around us. I think we're a tight-knit group and like we are constantly sort of sharing, what each one of us is going through and our friends and our family. And, this record, while I don't like to call it a pandemic record, so to speak, like it's very much informed by, I think, a lot of the shared experiences that people were going through at the time and my own included.
Well, also like living after the pandemic,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
getting back to normal life and
reintegrating.
yeah, which
On the
is
other side
which
of it
was
all.
weird, as we all know, and we all learned a lot about ourselves. So
Now, what's maybe like the most meaningful song for you guys personally and why that made it
great
on
question. No one's asked us that yet.
Yeah, that's a very good question. I mean, it's a tough one to answer right now with the record being so new because they all really have like their own moments and it's hard to pick one that really resonates the most. But, I think one of the ones that really sums up the sentiments on the record, I think, is a song called Are You There? And it's just about this kind of cry out to whoever of kind of saying like, I'm ready to admit that I need you and I need help and I need that thing that comes with people And I think that was a pretty big shared sentiment through everything. So
I personally connect with, and I love, that's probably my favorite song on the record. I personally connect with The Other Side. It was, it came from a personal experience, and it was a concept I brought to Alex and told him about it, and he loved it and helped me and helped Bonnie McKee, who wrote on the song as well, kind of turn it into this amazing song that I love so much. But it was, I found it to be a thing that it was one of those situations where it was like not a great feeling and not a great situation and not a great something I was sitting with that I felt like I was able to turn into something positive, which is a song that we all really love.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Now, like I said before, I've been following your career for a while now. I've been a fan since like 2006, 2007. So it's really cool, first of all, to be talking to you guys. Of course, but what I love about the new record is you kind of stuck to the signature sound that fans like me really liked back in the day, but you're progressing with it and you are putting those new elements in. So how did that for you guys? Like, how do you keep it fresh and new while keeping with the times, but sticking to what people know and love you for?
It's a great question because it's such a juggling act. We've been a band for 20 years. And so we have fans that kind of run the gamut from like longtime fans to fans that just found out about us from our last record or, whatever it may be. And so there's kind of there's always so many different expectations going into a record that we're sort of juggling. And it's like the desire to push ourselves, the desire to do something new and keep progressing our sound while also not selling out all the people who have been dedicated to us for a long time. And so, I think what's really important to us is that it feels like All Time Low. And I think the biggest thing that we clearly define for ourselves at this point is we know what that is. We know whether it's like a very off the beaten path All Time Low song or a really like bread and butter All Time Low song. We always know kind of internally that it's an All Time Low song or if we're going too far off the path. And I think that's been a really helpful thing for us to learn about ourselves. But outside of that, it's just pushing the envelope, trying new tricks. There's a lot of piano on this record, which we've really never leaned into all that much before. I think that was a really fun kind of like tool set to play with. I think we also pulled a lot of synths in that were kind of there on Last Young Renegade, but maybe in a more experimental way. And this time we kind of like were able to take our favorite bits and pieces of that and craft it into these songs. So yeah, it's just like it's always an exercise in pushing the envelope.
It really helps having Zach Cervini produce our records. He did Wake Up Sunshine, he did this one, and he grew up an All Time Low fan, and he knows what he wants from our band, and he knows what makes us special, and that's so important that he understands who this band is through and through. Mm-hmm. So no matter how far we want to take a song or how crazy we want to get, he kind of keeps it on the rails.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, obviously, you guys are going on tour in May. Super excited about that. You guys have to be pumped to be bringing this new record out. And I feel like it's the first real tour that you guys are going to have since the lockdown, right?
I mean, there's been a bit, but it was way more minimal than it's ever been in the past. And so, even then it was also like we were playing catch up because of the time lost on our last record. So I think what's really nice this time around is that this is new music and new touring all at the same time. It doesn't feel disjointed the way it did with Wake Up Sunshine because of what was going on in the world. So it's nice to kind of hit the ground running, so to speak, and put this music out when it's new music and immediately go and get in front of people and celebrate that music in a room, which is what this band has always been about. That's always been at the core of what we do. And so, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
And we get to play the Ryman and Red Rocks, which literally have been bucket list moments. I've never even been to Red Rocks, so I'm just so excited to see it for the first time.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. And lastly, before I let you guys go, we are Celeb Secrets. So when I interview people, I ask about like secrets, fun facts, things like that. So what's maybe like a secret about the record that people wouldn't know just by listening to it? I mean, we talked a lot about like the creative process, but is there any like fun story or secret that we wouldn't know?
I think one of the big secrets right now would be that there is a whole nother batch of music that is part of this record that hasn't been heard yet.
Yes,
there is more to the story. We wrote a ton of songs, and a ton of those songs felt like a part of this album. And so we kind of what has come out now is I would say the beginning of that story. And I think there's more to tell.
Oh, cool. So it's like a whole new era for you guys. So you're gonna have part one and part two.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.